live from the historic Homestead Inn in beautiful 29 Palms, California, right outside Joshua Tree National Park. And you're listening to Big Blend Radio, obviously. And our next guest is Sandy Boldt. She's a realtor associate at Sherry Miller and Associates, based in Yucca Valley, California. So it's just down the road from 29 Palms, but she covers the entire Morongo Basin. So we're talking about Morongo Valley, pretty much everywhere, kind of off the interstate from Palm Springs region all the way up to 29 Palms, and she's going to tell us about the different areas and what it's like to live here and why people should relocate here and buy real estate. She also represents the Homestead Inn here in 29 Palms, which is up for sale. Our good friend Jerry Hagman is retiring. We were just talking about retirement earlier in our show, but she is retiring and selling her beautiful property, and you can see that property. Go to 29inn.com, and you can also keep up with Sandy on the website sherrymiller.com, and that's CHERIE, sherrymiller.com. So, Sandy, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I know we're playing that music, Save My Money. How much money do we have to save?
Actually, out here you can get a lot for your dollar.
You see? Cool. There it is. That's what, it's interesting. You think about Palm Springs and how that has grown, and I think this whole area is about to do that. What do you think?
I think so. I think we're seeing a large influx of people up here. There are a few things that are drawing people out. Of course, the first one is the National Park. The National Park has kind of placed us on the map, and over the years we've seen it grow by the millions of visitors in the last 5 years. I mean, we're now up to 3.5 million visitors per year, which is way up over the last 10 years. So I've lived out here 40 years, and I've watched this little sleepy town turn into something quite large, and it is continuing to grow as the new things come through. So we also have the largest military base here, so we've always had, a big presence of different cultures and different people from different places around the world. So we've always had a lot of visitation, but now with the National Park having the visitation that it has, I mean, it's just booming out here. So great time to get in.
Yeah. I mean, this area, when we talk about the Morongo Basin, I was saying Morongo Valley, but it's the basin, right? So can you give everybody, and because I was going, it's kind of like, it's north off the interstate where you give everybody an overview.
So once you turn off of 62, you go north of Palm Springs, and we're out here, and it starts from Morongo Valley. We come all the way up the hill into Yucca Valley and go through Joshua Tree into 29 and beyond. So we also do out in the Landers area where people might be familiar with the Integratron out there, which is the sound bath. It's supposed to have perfect acoustics, so it's a really interesting place to go. And then you can pop over to the Landers Brewing Company for a beer and then run by and check out the orchids.
There?
The orchids over there at Goobler's Orchids. So, Landers is also becoming a place that's, who would have thought, but we're actually on the map now. And Pappy and Harriet's has been bringing in big talent for years from Los Angeles. So I think they've drawn some of our visitation as well. But 29 Palms has always been our military town, but that's quickly changing as people are realizing that we now have two entrances to the national park there. So I see growth kind of moving that way, and with the new infrastructure that's going in 29 Palms with the new addition of the Starbucks, and we've got some new businesses going over there, so opportunities are ending. Yeah, I've heard. I haven't had a chance to get over to the new bakery, but I hear it's amazing. So, I think the opportunities are there.
Yeah, I think because we got Mojave Trails National Monument on the other side here, and I mean, where from Jerry's property we can see almost the entrance part of Joshua Tree Joshua Tree National Park. I mean, it just, you can see like when people are going in, and we've got Mojave Preserve nearby, Vegas nearby, Anza-Borrego, so it's this whole loop. So it's an interesting spot.
Well, the Morongo Basin is amazing for location. I mean, we're an hour and a half from the mountains. We're 3 hours from Las Vegas. We're an hour and a half from the beach. You can do all the seasons here. You can do the sand and snow and and warm weather all in one day. So it's a great place. Plus, our air quality here is amazing. I mean, we have some of the best sunsets you can find. I don't know if anybody's ever seen a desert sunset, but you can't get much better.
Hey, the sunrises are incredible, right, Nancy? I make her walk in the morning at sunrise.
I'm so happy about that.
No, I know, but it is really beautiful, and the sunrises, the sunsets are incredible.
It's
I was
going
to say, notice I didn't say sunrises on my end.
I know.
I know, but
she has her cocktails at sunset.
No,
there we go.
The colors are different. As a person used to paint sunrises and sunsets, if you're an artist and you want to see real color, this is the spot.
Right, and I think that's probably what attracts so many artists and musicians and people like that. They come out here for the peace and quiet and the beauty of the desert. I mean, for so many years, everybody thought of the desert of what you saw in the movies, which was, sand and tumbleweeds, and it's not like that.
No. Now, did people come out? Did you get more calls, real estate-wise, after Anthony Bourdain came here?
I think it kind of started a little bit then. It also started with the new owners of Pappy and Harriet several years back. They started bringing out the LA crowd with some of the musicians that they were playing because they have really eclectic venue up there. And I think that might be a portion of what started. And then when they changed the park to a national park from a monument. I mean, I grew up out here and we called it the Monument. So if you run into people who have lived here forever, we all know it as the Monument. So I think that's what started bringing it, and now we've had a lot of people wanting to come out. They just can't afford to buy in LA and in the more populated areas, and they want to come out for a little bit of tranquility. So they started figuring out, wow, I can come out here and I can buy 2 or 3 properties for what I can get one for in Los Angeles. And I'm going to get a lot more.
And at the same time, so many people are able to do virtual working. And I think when we look at this coronavirus pandemic thing where people are sheltered in place, we're doing a lot more work from home. And, I like, for example, Jerry's property right here, it's got it could be a B&B because I know she's got the permits for it. I know she carries every permit. I don't know about guns, but I don't get in trouble now. But she, this could be a bed and breakfast, but she has all these external buildings that are housing, where she has external stays for the military guys that stay here, which we say is wonderful eye candy for us staying here. Longer. But
hi, boys.
What's interesting to me is like someone could make this a B&B. They could do so many different things. It could be an artist compound. It could be maybe a family lives in a B&B house, and then they do Airbnb things. So are you seeing that kind of thing happening where people are hey, I got my main house and... Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's going to change. I think what's happening right now is we're seeing a lot of people wanting to come out here for their vacations, and I think it's probably going to become even more because I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of travel with the pandemic going on and things like that. I think people are going to probably stay a little closer to home. So for somebody who's looking for an opportunity to where they could maybe live in and stay and rent out that property and other properties out here are going to be amazing. I think the hospitality out here is going to be booming. I think in Yucca Valley specifically, we've got the new sewer coming through, and with the sewer, we're hoping to see more restaurants, more, hospitality coming through as far as places to stay. Because I think most of our rental capabilities out here are like Airbnb. Airbnb has become huge, but little inns are always booked up. And I think with the opportunities of Jerry's property, I mean, there's opportunity to put in 4 more buildings out there. She's already got 8 rooms available. So it's a place that has so much potential, and the views are just incredible. And, I mean, you can be in the national park in less than 10 minutes.
Within minutes. I mean, I was like, can we walk there? You could actually get to the Joshua Tree Visitor Center from here really kind of easy. It's not that far. I mean, Nancy and I like to walk. But you could go to the Oasis of Mara out there. It's really close, and really easy. Like I even looked at Wonder Valley and how that Nancy and I went to right as everything started doing the big shutdown. We're like, heck no, we're going to all our parks now. And one day we went out to Mojave Trails National Monument. But went through Wonder Valley, and we haven't been here for 6 to 8 years, right, Nancy? I think
something
like that. And Wonder Valley seems to be like becoming an art community, and the old homesteads that were kind of for photographers, we like to photograph derelict homesteads and crazy lighting, but they seem to be being bought up. And
yes, and so the old homestead cabins are definitely on the rise as far as people purchasing them and making them cute and great weekenders or nice Airbnb rentals. They have become a hot commodity out here. So what we used to say was pretty much a tear down, and we wouldn't give them, $10,000 for. These things are now selling upwards of $100,000 depending on the location and how much work's been done to them. And then, if they've been really cuted up and the location is amazing, we're talking over $300,000 properties. So,
wow.
So you can get in relatively inexpensively here, and with some elbow grease and a little bit of vision, you can definitely create something that people want to come to and that you want to come out and hang out at. And I was talking to my broker today, and we were discussing the social distancing thing, and she goes, we have a pretty low rate of infection out here, but I think it's because the social distancing is so easy for us here because we're not right on top of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Jerry's
you go to
property itself has almost 12. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, you go to the grocery store here during this whole thing, and it's like, okay, and everybody's so friendly and stays back, and it's been, I mean, we all have crazy stories, right? But it's been very calm, nice compared to if we were in LA, I think, and not knocking you, LA. I'm just saying. I know if you were going to go through the pandemic, I'd rather be here.
Well, I think that's what happened when this first all came down is everybody tried to head out here, and they had to end up closing the park for that reason because everybody knows that there's open desert out here. It's a great place to kind of go and decompress and get away from all that anxiety and stress. So, we don't have the traffic like they have in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And like Jerry's property, for instance, has 12 acres. I mean, where are you going to get 12 acres in L.A.?
Yeah. With men on it. No.
There you go.
I'm just teasing, but, all perfectly amazing gentlemen out here. But I also wanted to touch on, Nancy always says, when it comes to people relocating, schools are a factor. Can you tell us a little bit about the school system in the region?
Yeah, I believe the schools are pretty good out here. I went to high school here, so I can say that I actually made it through, and I'm okay. So
right on, girl.
Yeah, the schools are actually really, really good. The elementary schools, it's funny, we have a ton of those, and only a couple high schools, but they seem to be able to manage all the kids that we have coming through. So the growth is good. The teachers are awesome and amazing. I think when you have a smaller community like this, you end up with less kids in a classroom and a little bit more one-on-one attention, where you have your kids getting I don't want to say a better education, but maybe a little more personal education where people are a little more involved in their lives.
Okay, so it's a little calmer way of life, right? So would you say that you've got the growth of the parks, right? The not growth or not. Well, we want more land for the parks, but with this attention, we're kind of at that in between stage of where something like the Renaissance part, like it's about to do its thing, like it's right before it happens.
Yeah, we're definitely blooming.
Good one.
I think, like I mentioned a little bit ago, we do have the sewers going in, which I know that sounds really strange, but we've been on septic out here for so many years that the sewer's a big deal. And we've had a lot of bigger corporate restaurants talking about maybe coming in and maybe some, not that we want a whole bunch of, fast food places because we have enough of those, but the opportunities will be greater for people to come in, even the smaller restaurants, because the infrastructure will be there. At the current time, unfortunately, for some of the restaurants wanting to come through, they've had to put in their own sewage systems, which isn't feasible for most people.
Okay.
So once this infrastructure is in, they can just hook directly into that, and, it won't have that extraordinary cost for them. So we're hoping to see some of that, which will also bring in the hospitality industry as far as hotels, motels, maybe even, I know there are people that are trying to put in a couple parks out here for camping because we really don't have those. So this is all new territory for us. So, if somebody's got a great idea, the county would love to talk to them about, what their options are, what they were thinking about doing, because I think we need to start to grow, and I see that happening right now. And I think
tourism,
the growth.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say tourism, Nancy, this is what we always talk about. Tourism doesn't happen without community, right? So it goes hand in hand. And it's responsible tourism because of the parks. You don't want the and we want to balance it out. So it's kind of this interesting time frame where everybody could work together to create this utopia that's already here as a utopia, right? But it's balancing it out, and you can bring more shopkeepers and I think for people that want to have a boutique and things like that, I mean, it can really happen. These kind of small business dreams can happen.
Yeah, I know Joshua Tree right now. If you go down and you talk to their chamber, they really try to stay focused on the small business owner. They try to really hard to keep the big box stores out, which they've been pretty successful with. And I think if you go through Joshua Tree and you go through downtown 29 Palms and sections of Yucca Valley, you're going to see that small town charm that you won't find anyplace else. You're going to see those mom and pop, restaurants and different like boutiques and antique stores and art stores and little galleries that pop up. We've now got our farmers markets out here, which we hadn't had. So these are new things that we've had just over the last few years, and they're great. They're packed. So we know we have growth coming. The nice thing is right now the interest rates are super low, and it's a great place to invest. I mean, none of us has a crystal ball, but things are kind of looking like they shouldn't start changing in a negative direction. They should only go to the positive. A lot of investors should be thinking about moving to something maybe a little more tangible at this point, with the market being as volatile as it is. So, and we're a great place to invest. You have to think about here, when you bring your money out here and you buy a house, say for $300,000, if the market were to have a change, you're not going to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars because there just isn't any here. So we're kind of a good place to invest your money. You're going to see, over the last few years, we've definitely seen growth. We've seen people buy properties for $100,000, $150,000 7 years ago, 8 years ago, that are now selling for $350,000 and up. So we have had growth. So it's a different type of area here.
I think when it comes to areas, they have to keep their identity, and that's what this place is good at. Because when you lose your identity and you become part of the mix, then you are. How can I say? You're in the mix with whatever everybody else is doing, and you have to go by that. If you lose your identity, then you've lost your edge.
I know that this area specifically has a lot of people that have lived here a lot of years.
Yes.
I mean, I know when I was going to high school here, you're going to move out, go to the big city, and I did, and I came right back. And I find that a lot of people I know have done that. I mean, I know Jerry's been out here years and years. So my husband's family, my husband was born here. So there's something to say for a community that can keep people as long, lifetimes. So, and generations.
And we're back now. Look at this. I know.
It is about keeping your identity strong so that you're different from everybody else.
That's the thing. We came back here, and we haven't been here. I mean, we lived here years and years ago when we started the radio show years ago, and came back here, visited Jerry, of course, and then came back. We haven't been here for 6 to 8 years, and coming back here now, there's things that you remember that are ingrained in you. There's like the mountain. When you see the view from her place here in the morning, you look up in the mountain. That was the mountain. I had my morning coffee every day, looking at the pink go up the mountain. It would just literally stretch up, and I'm watching it again, and there's like this joy that comes out of it. And the fact that you have ravens and crows that come out here, and the birds. There's the same things that just that sense of place Nancy talks about. I think it's wonderful that you have such a history here as a realtor. I think that is such an important thing when you go to buy a house or a property, a commercial property or land, that when you're purchasing, you're with someone, and I know that doesn't happen for all realtors, but when you're with someone who has grown up in an area and been around as long as you have in the area, I think that's a real plus. So I think that's got to be very cool for you and for your buyers and sellers, right?
You're not just.
It's helpful. It can be like a. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're not just buying a house. You're buying an area.
You really are. And, a house is a house, and you can pick up and build a house. But, you can't move or change an area. You can't change a community. You can build the same house any place in the world, but you can't build the same community.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that a lot of people come out here for. It's that peace and tranquility and the nice, people know you in the store and everybody says hello, and it's just different here. With the tourism, we do see a lot more people that we don't know, but everybody that owns these shops and markets and things around here, they all know each other. Everybody kind of watches out for each other, and they try to rally together and keep things as a community. And I don't think you get that when you go into the cities. So
right on. Yeah. No, it's special. And as we develop across the country, we need more places like this, for sure.
We really do. I mean, as hectic as the world gets, it's nice to have a little spot you can call home and kind of decompress.
Right. Well, thank you, Sandy, so much for joining us. It's been a true pleasure, and so glad you are representing Jerry's Properties. I know she's got more too, people. She's got more than here. She's got commercial property, right, in downtown 29 Palms. Yeah,
another great opportunity for somebody that wants to start their own little shop or boutique or small restaurant or cafe. Great location. Nice building, really, really cute.
It reminds me of Santa Fe. As soon as we saw it, and I know she has a thing about Santa Fe too, and we're like, dude, this is Santa Fe, and it kind of it blends well with the whole downtown plaza thing, that whole idea of what a plaza is, so it's a cool property. Everyone, you can go to SherryMiller.com, that's CHERIE, SherryMiller.com. Also, to have a look at the property, go to 29inn.com so you can see where we are here at Homestead Inn. But a real pleasure chatting with you and getting to hear about what's happening in our old hometown. It makes us, homesick now. And if we weren't traveling
well, you're always welcome to come back.
Thank you.
I'm sure I can find you a great place to live.
I know. You go, girl.
All right. Thank you for having me. Have a nice afternoon.
You too. Take care. Enjoy the sunset.
All right. You too. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.